Here with more is former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Mr. Secretary, good to see you. First, let me get your reaction to President Zelensky today. And I like the Reagan model and I like the Trump model. Am I wrong in my analysis? Do you have a better idea?
No, Sean, I think that's right. Those two models were very consistent. They were speak pretty softly, but when it was time to swing into action, you did it with full force. You weren't late, you weren't behind, you weren't slow. You were protecting America's interest everywhere you went. In your opening, you talked about the moral imperative to do this. I think President Zelensky talked about that eloquently today. But there's an important American set of interests here as well that we need not forget, right? The American economy is going to be impacted by this. Fertilizer, food, oil, and gas, all going to be more expensive because the Biden administration put climate change ahead of protecting sovereignty and freedom in this place. I think you have it right. We should be providing all the tools that the Ukrainian people need to defend themselves. We have them. The Europeans have them. They can do an awful lot more too. But instead, President Biden has been behind. He's allowed Vladimir Putin to dictate the pace and the response. He's allowed Vladimir Putin to dominate how we think about the structure of what's taking place here, and we can do better than this. Americans deserve it. The Ukrainian people deserve it as well, and I think President Zelensky spoke to that very, very nicely today.
Well, why, when Poland wanted to give these MiGs to Ukraine, the person that vetoed that idea was Joe Biden. It went right to him. Why wouldn't he say to Poland, do whatever you think is right?
It's hard to explain, Sean, why he would take the posture that said that there was a European country wanting to provide weapon systems that belong to that European country to give to their European friend and partner, the Ukrainians, that President Biden would say, step in and say, nope, we're not going to let that happen. It's hard to also explain, Sean, why we're second-guessing what Zelensky says he needs to defend himself. He has demonstrated, his military leaders have demonstrated their capability to defend against a Russian military that we thought was really capable. If they're asking for certain tools, we ought to do our best to give them to them, and we shouldn't wait. We are months behind. I know this war's nominally only been going on for a handful of weeks, but we've known for months that this was in the offing, and we should have been stacking these weapons, javelins, missiles, stingers, all the things that the Ukrainians need to defend themselves for months and months and months. Instead, we're going to get them to them. I hope we get them to them fast and in a serious way.
One of the things that we got to keep in mind is we see hostilities with North Korea heating up in their ICBM testing. Doesn't always work out well for them. Then we have this Iranian deal now back on the table, which seems to me it seems dramatically worse than the first bad deal that they did. I guess Joe wants to import oil from Iran, and I guess Joe might be okay with Vladimir Putin building a nuclear facility for the Iranians, and I guess Joe wants to import oil from Venezuela and Iran. Those are things that I can't really comprehend, Mr. Secretary. But you were in Taiwan recently, but also you know President Xi. He's watching all of this. What is he thinking tonight, and what is Taiwan thinking tonight?
Well, I was just in Taiwan. I can tell you what the Taiwanese people are thinking. They're thinking that being stuck in the middle without an American set of leaders that are prepared to assist you when a superpower, a big nation comes to attack you, they're very concerned. It puts them on edge. I think Xi Jinping's watched this too. And while I've seen the Biden administration applauding, saying, boy, we have European unity, that unity came only after an enormous amount of destruction inside of Ukraine that continues to this day. I think Taiwan is certainly watching that. I'm confident that the Xi Jinping's not only watching what's going on in Ukraine today, but he's watching us sit at a table in Vienna while the Russians are killing innocent women and children. We're sitting on the same side of the negotiating table with the Russians about to hand Iran a clear pathway to getting Russian weapon systems. It sounds like we've let the Russians sell equipment to the Iranians as part of this deal as well. I mean, Sean, this is unexplainable. It is a level of appeasement that we haven't seen in the United States in an awfully long time, and it is dangerous not only for the Taiwanese, not only for the Ukrainians, but it's dangerous for the United States of America to watch bad guys rule the West.
When you watch the communist Chinese fly their fighter jets over Taiwan airspace to the degree that they have, and they talk about reunification to the extent that they have, it seems pretty clear to me that they have their own territorial ambitions, and they're probably soon going to follow through on them. I hope I'm wrong, Mr. Secretary, but I don't think I am.
Sean, I hope you're wrong too. whether you're wrong or not will depend an awful lot on how the United States responds, how the Japanese, the Australians, the South Koreans respond. If we do this well, I promise you, the Taiwanese people are very capable, and they're prepared to fight the same way you've seen the Ukrainians fight. They can change the calculus for Xi Jinping. They can make this cost extraordinary for him. But we can't wait. We can't wait until he's got ships at sea and airplanes in the air and a blockade established to say, oh goodness, now we're going to gather at some place and decide what we're going to do. We should be preparing the Taiwanese with all the tools they tell us they need and make sure that Xi Jinping understands that we are serious. When he raises the specter, as he did just this past week, when the Chinese talk about the big price that the United States will pay for sending equipment to Taiwan, he's talking about the use of nuclear weapons, too. We cannot allow tyrants to threaten nuclear weapons, to engage in coercive behavior. It didn't happen for 4 years in our administration. We shouldn't let it happen now.
I hope they're listening. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, we do need the adults back in power. That would be really helpful. Thank you for being with us. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.